goodness. Big move Monday. Look out. A way to end the tournament.
What's happening, people? Welcome back to the Quad Pod, sponsored by Poseidon Strength and Adidas Wrestling. And Happy New Year. This is our first episode of 2026. This is episode 38. This is a George Rogers episode. And I call it that because George Rogers is an awesome man. He's friends with my family. He's been to my uncle's golf tournament a number of times. If you don't know who George Rogers is, look him up. He's a Heisman Trophy winner and was the number one pick in the 1980 and 80 or 81 draft. Went to the Saints, but still awesome human being. But like I said, Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a really great holiday. I know that we have not had a show in forever, and that's basically my fault. So with the last time we were going to do a show was going to be a couple days before Christmas, and I actually had a medical incident where I cut my wrist open and needed emergency surgery. So I won't get into all the details, but literally was completely drugged up the night that we were supposed to be recording. Probably would have made for a really fucking fun episode, but probably better that I did not get on a microphone. But I had to get 7 stitches in my wrist on the outside. I think there's like maybe 10 or 12 on the inside. They do come out tomorrow. So as people are listening to this, I'll probably be getting my stitches taken out. But that is why we did not record. That is exactly why we were not doing any content between posting the interviews I did at Journeyman and literally today. So apologies for that.
It should be noted that it was like an accident.
It was. You know? It was a complete accident. If you didn't know that it wasn't an accident.
Yeah. The drugs were a result of having the accidentally cut his wrist.
Yes.
It was a sequence. Yeah.
There was a sequence of events in there. As I said, not getting into the details, but cut the wrist, needed emergency surgery. Obviously, they had to knock me out in order to do that. So wasn't too coherent. Probably would have given way better takes than I normally do. But wasn't too coherent at the time that we were supposed to record. These guys got a cryptic text message of cut my wrist. I'm in the hospital, needed emergency surgery. Don't think I can record. And
it was just me and Claunch. So it would have been a real shit show if it was just the two of us.
Yeah. Cause Austin was doing what you were doing commentary for the one match. So it just would have been, it would have been pretty wild to have you two doing a show together, which we might have to experiment with at one point.
To be fair, Kevin and I have done a show together on Blood Round, just the two of us. So if you want some shenanigans, go back and find that one.
Yeah,
we would have just ranked our favorite bald wrestlers of all time.
Yeah, so would have been a good show for sure. But yeah, that's why we had no content. I know we had some tweets from people asking about why no podcast, and there were some other people that said it's pretty crazy about how the drop off of content. But yeah, I was in the hospital for a couple hours getting surgery, so could not.
I offered to shoot a hostage video, and you guys didn't want me to.
I mean, the only person that was being held hostage was me, to be completely honest. So it would have been tough for you to do that all the way from Virginia. But I didn't miss Christmas. Was still back in Pennsylvania. I hope everybody had a really great holiday. I did as well, minus the stitches in the wrist and everything else. But we're going to get back to the wrestling. There's a ton of it, obviously, that happened since the last time we had a show. I was able to be at Journeyman, which was an awesome atmosphere. Really cool to be around all those different coaches, talking to Ayers and Gray and just in Obi, and just seeing all these different guys. Shout out to Cody Sanderson, who did an interview with me and was completely candid, as well as Jay Jaggers. Jaggers was awesome. If you guys have not listened to any of those interviews, head to our channel and listen to them. A lot of transparent wrestling talk as well. Dresser was very transparent about everything as well.
He's always transparent.
He's always transparent. Coach Santoro, really appreciate him talking to me. He did not want to do an interview, but I appreciate that he was willing to do that for us, honestly. So a bunch of great guys that I was able to catch up with and see, as well as my man Fretwell and Mike Mao and Brian Hazard. We were able to sit and have some drinks together, as well as with Chris Perry too at our hotel, and really kind of pick Chris Perry's brain while we were sitting there and talking and watching some football on that Saturday night. So good times had in Nashville. Can't say enough about the crew from Journeyman and Frank Pop always giving me a call to do commentary. So really appreciate him and the loyalty that he has always had for me and the rest of the guys that I spoke about that are always on the call and doing things with Journeyman too. But since then, like I said, there's been a lot of wrestling that has gone on, and there's been a lot to get to. So before we even get to it, let's do our weigh in. And for me, I'm honestly gonna kind of reiterate everything that I said about Frank Pop and the crew with Journeyman. Those guys are always top notch, as well as, like I said, Fretwell, Hazard, Mike Mao, always good to be with that crew. So for me, my way in is to have a very strong knit wrestling family, and it's always good to be back in the gym or back on the mic or doing any sort of content with any of those guys. Had a ton of fun in Nashville and couldn't appreciate that Journeyman crew enough. So that is my way in. Robbie, I'll pass it on to you.
Kind of a low note here. Just want to give a shout out to the Manili family. Some Nebraska legends. Todd Manili passed away in a car accident. I believe passed away today. So thoughts and prayers go out to that family. Huge in Nebraska history. He's a 3-time NCAA champ at UNO. He's a 4-time Nebraska state champ. Just a good dude. I coached against him when I was out there. The family's fantastic. They do a lot for the state, and just thoughts and prayers with them at this time.
Definitely. There's been a lot of heavy hearts in wrestling lately. So thoughts, prayers to literally everybody that's been close to anyone that has passed on. And so that's obviously really tough to deal with. Austin, on to you.
Yeah, I got 2 quick ones here. First one, wrestling related. Congrats to Dylan Chappell of Bucknell. Just earned his 100th victory in Division I, which is a rare feat. It's probably going to be more rare moving forward with just people not wrestle as many matches. It's quite rare to see 25 wins in a season, 30 wins in a season for 4 straight years. So congrats to Dylan Chappell of Bucknell. And my second quick weigh-in goes to Coach Tyson Dippery here at FNM. Just joined dadhood recently over the weekend, had a baby boy. Tate is his name, and him, baby boy, and mom are doing good. So I'll see Tyson this Friday at the FNM Open as well. So congrats to Coach Dippery, one of the coolest guys in the sport here. One of my favorite guys to chat with too. So congrats to Tyson, Coach Dippery, joining the dad club.
Nice. Claunch, on to you.
Very exciting stuff. Congrats to Coach Dippery there. I had a lot. I just wanted to shout out a bunch of people. Last time we were going to record, it was only going to be the 3 of us because Austin was covering or calling the Penn and Virginia duel on ESPN Plus. So shout out to Austin. He did a great job doing that. Wanted to shout out Fretwell and Spey for the Southern Scuffle coverage, as well as Sparks and Gibbons for the Soldier Salute coverage. Just love good commentary. Anytime you can hear, anytime that I actively want to just listen to other people talk about wrestling at this point, rather than just listen to my own thoughts and whatever the hell my kids are yelling about in the background, it means it's going well. If I'm willing to listen to my wife go, "Can you please mute that?" and say, "No, I'm not going to do that," then it's worth it.
And then you sleep on the couch.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate anybody who's good enough for me to justify that decision. Shout out to Tommy as well. He was one of the officials at the Soldier Salute. I believe he did the heavyweight finals, as well as certainly other matches throughout the weekend. I have a lot of.
What
things
if that was the only
out.
one they gave him?
Yeah, right. That's your one match. Have fun with these 2 behemoths. And I wanted to shout this out because I don't know if it's going to come up throughout the course of the episode. We've had a lot happen over the last several weeks. So Central Michigan University won the Chippewa Challenge, which happened a couple weeks ago. And, it's kind of a sad realization that Campbell's not going to be there with Scotty not kind of coaching there anymore. And now I'm like, all right, well, where do we expand this to bring in some other teams? Do we go to assistant coaches? Do we bring in Penn State? We don't want to bring them into that challenge. That's too much. That's too much there. But maybe you've got a Scott Mattingly at North Dakota State. I believe he's still there. I probably should have looked that up before I thought this through or started saying it. Yeah. Oh man, there was other ones that were just popping through my head too, but lots of options there. That was a good win for them. Oh, and then speaking of that, I wanted to shout out Luke Smith at Cal State Bakersfield. I was looking at their schedule, and I was like, damn, that's a pretty badass schedule for a team that's, like based on what they have on their schedule, it's going to be a lot of L's, right, as a team, but you're going to get good competition. So earlier this year, they wrestled and lost to Purdue and Cal Poly. This weekend at the National Duels, they'll have Northern Iowa, amongst others. Drexel obviously got a big win. Shout out. They just beat Purdue last week, as well as Ohio. They also have Oregon State, NC State, Little Rock. So that's a pretty good schedule as far as like some of the tough teams they're going to have. I was literally listening to a podcast earlier today, college basketball one, and they were talking about Miami of Ohio, who's currently undefeated in college basketball. And they have like the 355th like ranked record as far as how difficult it is out of like 363 teams. So it's like you're literally playing like the school for the blind and like underwater basket weaving, like you losers. Like, so yeah, shout out to Luke Smith for getting his guys ready. They've got a young squad, but they wrestled really well at the challenge, and I'm excited to see what that group's going to turn into. So
Nice. Yeah, Austin, you got me thinking too. Gable Steveson had a daughter. I believe that was last week or over the weekend. Her name is Story Wynn Steveson. So congrats to Gable and his family on Gable having his first kid.
Yeah, he was
Win,
on.
like WIN or like Duran Win,
Wynn is her middle name.
like the casino.
Yeah. Yep. First name is Story, Stori.
Okay.
Yeah. Gable
Yeah, he was
Steveson.
on the Rogan podcast last week, and kept saying, "Once my baby comes out, once my baby comes out." I just thought that was a weird way of saying I'm going to have a daughter soon.
Yeah.
But congrats to Gail. It's cool to
Yeah.
see him. On
once she
Once my
kicks down
album
the
drops,
door, yeah.
once my album drops, then we'll be talking.
Yeah,
Have you heard Closing Time? But that's about giving birth.
Yeah.
That's what my daughter's going to do soon.
Yeah. He's I
What a
gotta
reference.
yeah.
Oh, Semisonic.
I gotta he was obviously here because Rogan lives here in Austin, and his studio is obviously here. But like, so that was obviously like a couple weeks ago that Gable was here to do that show. So but yeah, I think coincidentally the show came out the same day that his daughter was born. So they kind of coincided a little bit. But yeah, shout out to all the dads. I mean, you guys are all dads. I'm not a dad yet, but shout out to all the dads.
You can borrow one of mine if you get bored.
Never that bored.
They're really loud.
Yeah. No, I saw all my nieces and nephews while I was home. Most of them are older. There's only a couple that are younger at this point. And it's always nice to be able to just be like, now go home. Here's your Christmas gift. Go on home. Yeah. All right, let's talk wrestling. And the two tournaments that used to just be like the talk were Midlands and Scuffle. It was always like, who's going to Midlands, who's going to Scuffle. I can remember Mark Hall making his debut at the Scuffle. I think Carter Sirachi also made his debut at the Scuffle. Like it was always like who is going to be coming. I mean, obviously this year Josh Barr was there, but like you got to see the up and comers that were able to go to the Scuffle and showcase skills from like as young athletes. Barr is a freaking runner-up and national runner-up at this point. So it's not like he's an up-and-comer like Mark Hall was or like Sirachi was at that point. And then also David Taylor wrestling in Midlands at one point. I know that he was a post-grad, but like still pretty fun. These things aren't happening as much. But like, what did you guys take from, we'll start with Midlands and Robbie, you can obviously go with the ACC lens. ACC wise, what were you impressed by at Midlands? Were there guys that showed out that you weren't expecting to, or any really good runs that kind of popped out for you?
I mean, there's two big stories One was just kind of the overall performance from Pitt, who had a fantastic tournament. They finished in second, point and a half behind Rutgers. Um, at 57, Dylan Evans put together a great run to win the title. Probably the best he's looked all year. Anthony Santaniello also made the finals, but lost to Cortez from Cornell, correct? Elijah Cortez? Yeah. But the biggest story, I guess Tyler Chappell also made it at 25 for Pitt. The biggest stories were the freshmen for Tech, with Aaron Seidel just making a fucking beast mode run at 33, and Colin Guy had an amazing tournament at 49. Tech sent all three of their potential starters for 149 with Colin Guy, Noah Nininger, and Ethan Miller, who made his first appearance for the Hokies. Guy finished in first, and Miller and Nininger, I think fifth. Yeah, they were both in the fifth, sixth place match, and they didn't wrestle. So it'd be very interesting to see how this shakes out. Initially, the thought was that Miller was going to make the cut to 49, and somebody would bump to 57 out of those two, or Mac Church, who was trying to cut down. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be a very interesting next couple weeks to see how that plays out, because you have two true freshmen and a transfer senior all competing for, I guess, two spots.
Yeah, you mentioned Seidel. Obviously, all these things are happening while I'm traveling for the holidays and stuff. So I get a chance to kind of binge watch all the matches all at once, which is pretty nice. And I'm like, man, he is just running through this tournament, right? Like you look at the results, I'm checking results and things as I'm, with family and peeling myself away from a computer or not watching, and you're just like looking at results and you're like, oh shit, like he has really not been scored on
No,
basically at all, right? Like,
he went pin, tech, 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 pin.
yeah.
It's a
And I
hell of a
think
run.
he gave up 1 point in the round of 16 and then another 1 point in the semifinals. Like, just ridiculous run. And then like you have a chance to watch the matches and you're like, did anybody like was everybody just afraid? Like what like he just mows down everyone. It was just ridiculous. So very impressed by Seidel as well. Do you feel like and Robbie, you mentioned how Tech's lineup shakes out. Who do you think is kind of the maybe the best guy that they should go with, or is there any indication that they're leaning one way or the other with how things are looking with I guess this bottleneck that they have now?
What it feels like is they're going to play out, who's going to be best in the lineup. And from every indication, Seidel was looking fantastic and then got injured preseason, and Campbell just kind of ascended from there to a top 10 rating and has looked amazing all year. I mean, he made the semis at Scuffle, then got caught in a stupid cradle and lost there, but well, he was up 13 points. That's a whole other conversation. But I mean, they have some good problems. They have a lot of talent and not a lot of places to put them, and that's only going to compound in the next couple of years with the recruiting classes that they continue to have. So it's going to be problems they're going to have to figure out how to deal with.
Especially if they're in
And
the Knox conversation too.
yeah, which we'll get to that later. They're certainly firmly in that conversation, but I don't know. It's going to be really fun to watch them kind of manage this and see how it all ends up working out. They have some dates to play with because so many true freshmen, and this is Seidel's first appearance, so he's still got four more dates that he can use. And I don't think they're going to use too many of the ACC dates because that goes into seeding for the actual tournament. But they have a couple non-conference. They have App State, and I think they have one or two other non-conferences throughout the rest of the year. Oklahoma State, which is going to be an awesome duel.
Is
But
Caleb Henson going to have a spot in the lineup next year? Is he going to make the
Caleb
team?
Henson will do whatever the fuck Caleb Henson wants to do.
He might have to
Look, man,
transfer.
the champ's going to do what the champ wants to do, and that's how it's going to work. I think it's 49 is his if he wants it, 57 is his if he wants it, and I don't think anybody in that room is going to say anything or do anything to take that from him. He scares me, and I'm a lot bigger than him.
He's a
Yeah.
hitman.
Obviously very good problems to have in makes the Virginia Tech NC State matchup even more interesting. Not to say that it's not competitive. It's always competitive, but if you're, seeing the things that Tech is doing, and you kind of have to make sure you're rising to the occasion if you're NC State, obviously too. Sticking with Midlands, Claunch, over to you. Any impressive showings from guys in the Big Ten, or even, guys in the MAC, or anything else that you had seen at Midlands?
Yeah, well, I also wanted to comment real quick because, I remember, I think it was David Taylor wrestled Valencia, Zahid in the finals, and like it was actually a pretty good match. And it was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like we all knew Zahid was like a stud at that point anyway, but it was like, wow, like that's pretty impressive for doing that. Can you imagine if like Zahid Valencia had wrestled at Midlands this year, and how much of a fucking ass whooping that would have been? He would have wrestled Shane Cartagena-Wolf in the finals. On his way to the finals, it would have been a bloodbath. Or a Parker Kekazin or something like that, too. Like, anyway, Midlands was something special back in the day. Emery Parker beat Nate Jackson in the finals one year. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was cool. Anyway, Blake West. Shout out to him, 125 pounds for Northern Illinois. He got a nice win there. He wrestled a really good tournament. So shout out there. 157 was just wild to me. I was looking at the brackets and I was like, oh, this is going to be great. We've got Cal Miller from Maryland. He's up finally at a weight class that he should probably have been in for the last couple years. He was cutting a ton of weight to get to 141 and then 149 last year because his brother was there. And then he loses to Bryce Lowry, also in the Big Ten, who, like, I watched a bunch this year. I didn't think he was particularly impressive, but he had one hell of a tournament. So shout out to him. Ultimately, Dylan Evans wins the title there, but 157 was very interesting. But it's just, and a lot of these tournaments did this. It was a lot of like, get some of our backups or young guys some higher level competition. Like that seemed to be kind of the theme amongst all three of these major tournaments. It was not a lot of starters. It was guys in red shirt. It was still high level. Definitely the watered down version. And I don't mean to say that as like a negative thing and really like take all the fun out of it, because I spent all weekend and most of the last 2 weeks watching all of these tournaments because they were super fun to watch. My point in bringing that up is simply that it's not going to be what it once was. So like, maybe don't do what I'm doing right now and just be the guy online being like, oh, this is terrible wrestling, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, still enjoy it. Still appreciate it for what it is. It's just different. And that's okay too.
There was a Sergio Lemley sighting as well.
There was a Sergio Lemley. Yes. He did lose in the semis, I believe it was, to Colin Gage. A guy. Is that how you pronounce it? That's never how I would have. You could have given me 1,000 opportunities to pronounce that, and I would have never gotten there.
To be fair, the first time I saw it was doing commentary at Elite 8, and I thought the same thing. And then I found out like maybe 2 duels in that it was Guy, and I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so
that's not how you
silent
spell
J.
Yeah,
like, it's like jogging.
I think it was yogging, honestly. But
this reminds me of like Kyle Guy, who played basketball at Virginia. That was just such an awesome name, and yeah.
I believe he's coaching at Virginia now. He was like in the G League at one point.
He was for a while, yeah, and then he went into coaching, and then I think he was going to go back to the G League because his kids wanted to watch him play. I don't know what he's doing now, but shout out to Kyle Guy. Bet you didn't expect to be thrown into this podcast. But yeah, Sergio Lemley went out there and wrestled hard, lost in the semis. It was a fun tournament. I had a good time. Ethan Burden, 165, won it. He looked really good. And I mean, again, a little watered down competition across the board, but he did beat Ryan Burton of Virginia Tech. He 165 at Ohio State. I don't know. They could probably use a little bit more firepower. He didn't stall out in any matches. I know that much. I don't know if he got called for stalling at all, for that matter. But yeah, it was a good tournament. I had a good time watching it. I'm trying to, I shouted out. Oh, Chris Moore. medical forfeited out of the finals. I forgot about that. I hope he's okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There was a lot of injuries. I do remember that.
Hunter
Didn't like
Kaka
that.
looked good. It's nice to
He
see
did
him
look
looking
good.
good again.
He did look good. Oh, and
The
shout
two
out to
former
Remy
ACC guys in the finals.
Mhm.
Hunter Kaka and Michael Geoffrey both made the finals.
That's right. That's right, because I made the joke about like, oh, if you were going to lose to a Virginia Tech guy, you didn't have to leave Virginia. But he did. So, yeah, Midlands was fun. I've always wanted to go. Have you guys gone to Midlands?
Never.
I would like to go.
Been to
Does
Northwestern. but
Storniolo
never
still
for
have his
Midlands.
mullet? I hope so.
I don't know.
I didn't see.
I hope so. Yeah.
Northwestern
I
is,
hope
is honestly a really nice campus, though. I mean, you would think so, but like, really, really nice school. They have a nice room too. Like, remember, I think it's at least if it's still in the same place, it was like kind of like Stanford, where Stanford was in like the basement of this. It's, I mean, I call it the basement, but it's obviously a gorgeous building. And Northwestern very similar, and like you walk down these steps, and it's like huge room. So very nice setup that Northwestern has too. Austin, on to you. Anything from the ACC that stuck out at Midlands? Excuse me, ACC, EIWA. That stuck
Yeah.
You
out.
can talk about the ACC if you want to. I'll let you.
Yeah, that would be Robbie's dream, wouldn't it? Yeah, Miles Tackett of Bucknell was champ at 174, had a pretty good showing, beat two ranked opponents in Lamer and Oregon State and Desciante, Virginia Tech, and Gilcher of Indiana was in that bracket too. So pretty solid bracket for the Midlands. But yeah, I was just impressed with Aaron Seidel. I remember he walked into the club here. I coach at Lancaster as a 7th grader. He walked in and circling back to Tyson Dipper, he kind of took him under his wing and kind of showed him a lot of stuff, where a lot of skills that Seidel has on top came from Tyson Dippery. So a lot of props to him. Just developing Seidel. I knew he'd be pretty good. I didn't think he'd be the all-time Pennsylvania wins leader. His record, it was 206-4. I think 2 of those 4 losses came to Jack's Forest. So just a really incredible wrestler. Saw him at the Keystone Classic, talked to him a little bit, had surgery in his hand in the offseason, kind of what Robbie was alluding to, but good to see him back in the mat and just dominating the way he did. And putting on Shawver like that was impressive. Shawver was a Big Ten champ. I think it was All-American 2 years ago, right? Just, I don't think he's ever been beaten that bad. That was just incredible to see. Future's bright at Virginia Tech. So there's my ACC discussion for you.
We should all just show up one week and just have nothing but the ACC to talk about and not tell Robbie.
That'd be amazing.
I'm kind of ruining it right now, but that would be so funny.
Yeah. And
hey, I talk about FNM more if Borgia would ever send me my fucking shirt.
I gave him your guys' addresses. I'll see him this weekend too. Make sure you send them out.
Yeah.
Hope I said they got lost in the mail. I don't know.
Lost in the mail. Yeah. I mean, the ACC is interesting, and especially with what Virginia Tech is doing with their recruiting class and the people that they have coming in. Plus, they're good humans, like those guys at Virginia Tech as well.
So true.
So that also helps.
They gave up a kidney. Kidney.
He did. Not many do that.
Nope.
Not many do that. Let's jump back to the ACC and move to the Scuffle for you, Robbie. And there were a good amount of. I'm looking at results right now, trying to remember. I mean, obviously, Penn State was all up and down this entire final, but you had Ventresca, you had Jimmy Mullen, both in the final at Scuffle. But overall, your thoughts on how the ACC fared at Scuffle?
That is the best I've seen Jimmy Mullen look ever. And it's kind of what they expected from him coming out of high school with as big of a recruit as he is. That's the most offensive attacking Jimmy Mullen that I've seen. And if he keeps that going, he's certainly a threat to be an All-American. And I mean, it was a hell of a lot more exciting than a lot of his matches were to watch him this weekend. So that's good. But Eddie Ventresca is on a mission, and the dude he put on a show. His finals match was probably the only boring match he had, and that was a sudden victory takedown to win. But he is putting his foot on the gas pedal, and he's going to be a lot of fun to watch the next few weeks. The ACC
Yeah.
is going to be wild this year. There's some fantastic duels coming up in the next 4 weeks head to head with Stanford, with UNC making a big push with what they did at the Soldier Salute. Uh, NC State, Virginia Tech, obviously both fantastic teams. There's some really good stuff about to come up.
Yeah. Yeah. With at the Scuffle, I had my eye on Witt from North Dakota State, as well as Bianchi and of course Stephen Little. Because I was, like I said, in Nashville with those teams with North Dakota State and Little Rock. And North Dakota State had a a decent run, right? They didn't. It's not like they came out and won, any of the duels they wrestled, and they lost to Penn State like everybody else does. They lost to Stanford, but they were up early on Stanford, and it was partially because of Witt at 125. And I posted the clip from Obi talking about him and like how much he just loves to wrestle, but like he's a youngster that is having such an impact on their lineup and how he is approaching his matches and his attitude and his preparation and everything else. I love that Obi has a guy like that in the room, right? Like we've watched how Obi got the job and lost obviously his biggest guys, head off to Iowa, and had to really shape and mold this lineup into what it is right now, and they continue to grow. And I think Witt is kind of a product of what Obi has been putting together. So, one, it was awesome to hear from Obi and what he took from their time in Nashville, but two, see how Witt competed and competed very hard when they were in Nashville, and then see it carry over. I mean, you said it, Robbie. This was Ventresca's most boring match where he's not scoring a ton of points and he goes to overtime. And, we've seen now for me 2 weeks in a row how Witt has competed with some of the best guys in the weight class. So he is
Mhm.
certainly somebody to keep an eye on. And, if he peaks at the right time and hits a good slide when he gets to NCAAs, who knows, is he on the podium? We'll certainly see. But like, I've been very impressed by him. And I talked about Bianchi. He's another one of those vets that, just like Stephen Little, that Little Rock has, that they really lean on. And with getting to watch him in Nashville, that guy will fight you in a phone booth and you'll feel like you're getting hit by 19 different people. Like he is just a scrapper, man. Like, and he's just so damn tough. So, he has continued to wrestle very hard. And Stephen Little, this was his first competition back in a little bit. He did not wrestle while he was in Nashville. He was there, but was in street clothes for the most part and didn't compete. And they talked about him getting back in the lineup and how, they were circling the Scuffle for him to get some matches and really get his feet back under him. So obviously a tall task when he's wrestling up against Josh Barr. And it was also Josh Barr's kind of, I think, what, his second event. He wrestled in Nashville for the first time this season, looked really, really good. And then on to the Scuffle where he needed to get some more matches. And, um, but still impressive by Little, not obviously in the match with Barr. Barr just kind of ran through it, but for him to get back on the mat for the first time in a long time and make the finals, obviously he is ranked third in the country, but you can, your timing could be off. There's something could be off when you're returning after a little bit of a hiatus. So both those guys looked really, really good. And, seeing the depth that Penn State has is always going to be very impressive. And, but all it does is it sparks the conversations of, and I saw somebody tweet this, when does Joe Seeley transfer, right? How long does he sit in that lineup at Penn State and not get the nod to be a starter? And Kale even said it in another interview that Joe Seeley is one of the best guys in the country at 157 pounds, right? Like to have guys that can be on the podium just kind of sitting in your room year after year. I mean, they've always done it. This isn't anything new but you'd have to imagine that Joe Seeley is going to want to compete. Maybe he goes up after a year or something like that, but he just continues to impress and certainly look good throughout the entire tournament. Obviously, Penn State's always impressive, but they're really flexing their depth when it comes to a tournament like this. Claunch, on to you. What stuck out to you at the Scuffle?
Well, I was going to say Branson John was wrestling Josh Barr in the semis, and it looked like Barr hurt his shoulder again. And he like slapped the mat, like one of those like I'm angry ways that you slap the mat, and like darn it sort of thing. And but no, I was happy to see him continue, obviously, and wrestled really well all the way through it. Branson John, for that matter, from Maryland, I shouted him out before the season started. Like, holy shit, that dude was at 174, is up at 197. Like, is this legit? And he is legit. He's a full size 197, and he's had a good season so far. Placed third here. Also wanted to shout out at the same weight, Cale Whistler of Michigan State, wrestling. That's Cale, by the way, with a K, Kael. Just want to make sure that a
like
little
the
bit.
leafy vegetable.
There's a lot of different ways to spell kale. Hey, there's another Cale of this weight from Utah Valley, placed 7th, also with a K. How about that? Lots of Cales these days in wrestling. Love to see it. Anyway, so wanted to shout those guys out for placing from the Big Ten. Jimmy Mullen did look good. I will say that is the best I've seen him wrestle. And as someone who has him on my fantasy team, I was very excited to see that. Let's see here. Oh, dude, Asher Cunningham, that guy's a freak. I've never seen somebody just so casually get reversals, like just waiting to get taken down so he could reverse you and then turn you. Like, that's a fucking strategy.
That's what I written down. That finals match was fun, but it was annoying with all the review. It was like a 15-minute match.
It was 23
insane.
minutes.
Was it?
Oh my god!
23.
Yeah.
And from the beginning, the announcers, again, what was it? Sparks and Gibbons, like, I think it was Gibbons was like, yeah, you got to think that American's coach is like, just let him up. Just get a takedown and let him up, like right from the beginning. And I'm sure they were telling him that. It didn't work because by the time they were on the mat, it was like, you're in quicksand, brother. This is my spot now. What was that? I was born in the darkness, that sort of Dark Knight Rises saying, like, I was born on the mat. This is, you've just adopted it. Anyway,
it's very
so that
possible
was awesome.
He actually was too. Just
he's very
that out there.
I think I'd prove it wrong. I'm gonna need direct evidence. All right. Otherwise, I'm gonna assume.
Is that one of my Penn State hater takes? Is that was?
Yeah, right.
A lot of them.
How many teams have we been accused of hating? Which
I'm
honest,
legitimately wearing my Oklahoma State Cowboy Wrestling Club hat for that guy.
Yeah, we got accused Oklahoma State, which is honestly hilarious. Which shows that he actually doesn't watch the show very much. But yeah, I mean, Penn State hater Robbie over here, just man, it honestly is the jokes about the glasses.
It very well could be
the serial killer glasses. Which
I don't
honestly
really think Mitchell Messenbrick's a serial killer. He just looks like Jeffrey Dahmer.
It's just like your joke at this point,
right?
And it works and it's funny. But yeah, apparently we're.
In fairness, Chael Sonnen looked like a serial killer in his stupid video too. So there's that.
It's the same glasses. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, is what it is, guys. I don't really think that we hate any teams, to be completely honest.
Chael Sonnen looked more like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
It puts the lotion.
Oh, Chael.
I wonder if he has a dog.
That man, he's great every time I see him. I haven't seen him. I saw him at NCAAs a couple years ago. He's always great to talk to. But yeah, hopefully he did reach out to Mike Moyer. I hope he did.
I hope so too.
Just can arrange that if he needs it.
Very good point. Quick wrap up on the Scuffle though. I did want to shout out American did wrestle really well. They did. Let's see here.
Max Leet was great.
You guys are stealing my thunder over here. That's fine though.
Oh well, that's where you know what I'll give you that. We're stealing all the EIWA takes right here. That's what we're gonna
That's
do.
okay.
Well, I'm
You
just
can
gonna
take
cover
them.
Because we
I'm the only one
let
who
you
talks
speak
about
on the
IWA.
ACC at Midlands, Austin.
Yes,
So we had to
yes.
go EIWA.
Hold on. What else? I mean, in general, like the main thing is, dude, Penn State has all these dudes. You talked about Joe Seeley, like Connor Pierce obviously wins it at 149. You had Asher Cunningham, who we already talked about, who definitely seems like he can score a lot of points.
Ankle.
I don't know, man. What do you do? Like, you got Rocco Welsh, who just came in, and meanwhile your son is just like an octopus, and it's like, well, I don't know what you do. It'd be weird to see either of those dudes at a different school, you know?
Dude,
Like,
you
Yeah,
know
it'd be
what's
weird to see Rocco Welsh at another school where he
Yeah, we
transferred
haven't
from.
seen that yet. That'd be weird.
I mean, like, that's the low hanging fruit, but like what I meant is a third school.
Okay.
Usually when you see the third school, it's like there's some other stuff going on with that dude.
dude? Speaking of Rocco Welsh, he does remind
That's
me
how,
of
when
Bane
Stephen Buchanan finally got his
Dark Knight.
first.
Rocco, what
That's fair.
reminds you of Bane?
He does. When
He does,
when
yeah.
we were in Nashville and I'm looking at their lineup, right? Like Penn State, bunch of guys, like very unsuspecting guys, like right, like they just look, you know what I mean. Like if you're out in a bar, don't look at the ears, whatever else. You're just like just another normal guy, and then you see Rocco Welsh, and you're like, he looks like a supervillain. He just does, and just looks mean. Just looks like it hurts to shake that man's hand, and I'm like, he just one of these things does not look like the other. Everybody else looks like very nonchalant on the team. And then you just have Rocco Welsh, who just looks like Bane to me. And I'm like, he's awesome. I think it's great. Love the tattoos as another tattooed individual. Love the tattoos, but like, he just looks like a brick shit house. And I'm like, I bet you he's fun to actually talk to. He's probably the most laid back of all of them, but just looks like a supervillain. But that was the thought as I was watching Penn State, because you just had guy like every clean cut guy out on the mat, and then you just have Rocco Welsh just covered in tattoos and just strolls out there at 84.
Takes his mask off and goes out on the mat. Yeah, he's a freak. But no, it's yeah, shout out to all those guys. And damn, dude, Maryland actually had a good tournament here too. And I really wanted it for Braxton Brown. He's always been really close to getting it done. I mean, shit, shout out to Dom Serrano, who hit a pretty sick little peek out at the end.
That was pretty. That was really
pretty. It was really smooth. So shout out to him for that. I got to give him his props.
Lots of
good. You can see like the shot of it has like Cole Matthews in the background, just like resigned to the fact that was fucking beautiful and there's nothing you can do about it. Like that's what do you do?
That's put up your dukes. Said I got no fucking dukes. That was exactly what that was. Yeah, so many references. Austin, we'll give you the EIWA. I know we've stolen some of them, but there's still a couple left.
Yeah, I'll start with
EIWA goggles.
Oh, Max, yeah, he wrestled good. That's one of my things I wrote down here. 133 American. They have two legit guys in Max Lee and Raymond Lopez. I think they're both seniors too. So
yeah.
One of those guys is going to be sitting out the end of the year, which is a shame because Lopez has a lot of great wins on the year. Lee outperformed him this weekend. They both beat Ferrara from Cornell, who's ranked pretty high. So they both have really good wins. So it's going to be tough to sort that one out if you're American. Some more things I've written down here. Greg Diakomahalis, great to see him back on the mat after pretty serious, I think it was neck injury, held him out for at least a year of competition. So good to see him back. Fourth place, probably not what he wanted, but when you're out for that long, coming back, it's always good. Vince Cornella looked really good. Beat Composto from Penn, who's been very good this year so far. So yeah, Cornell looks like a high All-American threat if he wasn't already. Carter Young looked really good until he medical forfeited out. He beat Cross Wazalewski from Penn, who was I think 4th or 5th in the country, 6th. Looked unstoppable this year, and Carter Young beat him in I think the quarters, round of 16, whatever it was. And then Carter Young, like I said, medical forfeited out. Hope he's okay, but very promising from a guy like him that just kind of transferred schools this year already. Zepeda.
That
NC
was,
State.
yeah. We'll circle back to that one.
Yeah, that was just really impressive to me. That finals match was insane. But yeah, the way he stacked up Swisher like that was, he's going to be fun to watch. And last
Well,
thing I
we
wrote
might
down was
we might be seeing more of him this year.
that would be awesome. I'd love to see him. He's fun to watch wrestle.
Yeah, Jackson Arrington's out for the year now with shoulder surgery, so they have a
Mhm.
hole at 57. So Zepeda may very well be stepping in um, full time.
Yeah, and yeah, for him to not be an All-American threat is silly. I think he definitely could be just at that weight class and the way I think he's pretty big for that weight. He looked pretty big.
He
Yeah,
got a
he's
big frame.
super talented too. So that's exciting. Last thing I had was 184 final. Just a lot of what did you say?
Shenanigans.
I think it was Sadie Stevens. She used to say spaghetti wrestling when she was on the mic. That's what that was. Just a lot of reversals, takedowns, a lot of long, lanky guys, and Campos and Cunningham remind me of those inflatable arm tube guys with the long arms, just kind of all over the place. But yeah, fun match, long match, frustrating match with all the reviews, but yeah, good wrestling overall for the Scuffle for sure.
Robbie, what more did you want to add about Zepeda?
Just that we may be seeing him in the starting lineup with Arrington out now. I know it was the plan to redshirt him, but they may be having to adjust that on the fly. So keep an eye out for that.
Hope his hand is okay. I think looked like it was his hand or wrist or something that took him out of the end of the match. Yeah.
Let's pivot to Soldier Salute, and so we don't steal it from Austin.
Real quick, before I forget, I do want to jump in with American. They have a great new facility.
Oh yeah.
If anybody hasn't checked out like their social media stuff, like they have brand new facilities. It's awesome to check that out. Also, Jason Borelli has been very outspoken on Twitter lately regarding the Cal Baptist news that they're cutting their program and just in different ways that you can actually help and like what sort of things are helpful to say online versus not. Like obviously he went through that with Stanford and in particularly in California and in particular with a program and an athletic director who said no amount of like fighting this is going to make a change. And then here the fuck we are. And Stanford, one of the top teams in the country, and still has a program and is doing just fine. As is Jason and everyone else. So anyway, that's what I wanted to say.
Honestly, let's move to that before we get to Soldier Salute. Let's move to this news. And I think, I was fortunate enough to go to Stanford and visit those guys when Borelli was coaching there and Nate Angle was there and all those guys were going through all of it. This was obviously after all of it was happening, or before everything was happening with them, with losing the program. I was able to visit them, but those guys did that coaching staff did everything that they possibly could, as well as Shane Griffith. We know the impact that he had. Now he's like a financial advisor or something like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, but we know that sort of impact. I don't see them having a Shane Griffith in the lineup, right? It's kind of hard pressed for things like that. But
they had an Elijah Griffith at one point, or Griffin. Yeah. He transferred.
Yeah,
they had a Mitchell Messenbrink at one point too.
They did. They certainly did have a Mitchell Messenbrink at one point. But the thing about like when programs are going to be dropped is that people rarely get a heads up on those things. It doesn't happen. This isn't like a shot at Chael. I understand Chael had a video and everything else, and but it just kind of comes about, right? It's announced usually by the school or somebody else writing about it or whatever else. But it's usually pretty.
Sometimes on the bus ride home after winning a national championship. Fuck you, Trev Alberts.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes it happens. So, and nobody is privy to that information until that information happens. Yeah, there's maybe some rumblings sometimes that schools are looking at budget cuts or different things, but for the most part, people don't really know about it. But the thing that I hate is how whenever a program is about to get cut is when everybody wants to rush and then put in all their effort, right? And it's just like, I get it. It is in California and a lot of the wrestling diehards aren't in that space. But like, there are so many things that we can do and as a wrestling community to support all these different programs before it does become too late. But like, there's always a, save whatever wrestling, whatever it is, hashtag that comes out. And I'm kind of stealing this a little bit from Johnny DeJulius, but he's kind of right in the effect of like everybody becomes reactive in these things instead of being proactive about looking at these programs or talking about these programs or supporting these programs before they can even get to the point where somebody's going to rip them away. Right. And I mean, obviously ODU is, from my standpoint, an outlier in that, because ODU had a pretty phenomenal team. I shouldn't say phenomenal, but like they were a tough ass team, had a bunch of guys. One of my all-time favorite people in Larry Early becoming an All-American was a moment that I will never forget, because I got to watch him as a teenage wrestler and I still talk to him. And he's doing great things with Beat the Streets Wrestling in Chicago and stuff. And it's just like, you have these amazing stories with a lot of these programs about guys that nobody pays attention to a lot of the time. And I feel like, even us, like as many shout outs as we try to make sure we're giving for programs that aren't the Iowas, the Oklahoma States, and the Penn States, we're still going to miss certain teams, certain guys. But like, it's always so reactive in these situations where people want to rush to save a program when it's announced that it's going to be cut, instead of doing the work beforehand to make sure it doesn't get to that standpoint. Like I said, we do have our outlier in ODU, but I feel like there was probably like some of these programs are becoming afterthoughts in the wrestling world. And that honestly really, truly sucks.
Success. I think what actually Cal Baptist was doing was really impressive as far as how quickly they have been able to establish themselves. I mean, Little Rock is kind of the recent staple of like, holy shit, they were here and then all of a sudden they had All-Americans. Like, Cal Baptist was bringing in some good talent, whether through the transfer portal or through, whatever means they could. Clearly felt like they had the support with the administration to bring in people. I mean, we talked about, Kurt McHenry had announced that he was going to be there. Like, I don't know if that was still happening or what was going on there, but like, that's a big get still. Anyway, and Jesse Vasquez, they just brought in. Yeah. So like, but success in any way, shape, or form has never been a deterrent for these programs to get cut, right? You referenced ODU. I had also written down Eastern Michigan University. They had actually finally gotten together some future and some foundational plan, like coaching staff and athletes on that team, all of which went somewhere else and had success. Literally, they had an All-American in Cedarian Perry the year they got cut.
Yeah.
Oregon had a national champion the year they got cut. Boise State had a long tradition of All-Americans and NCAA finalists and just like awesome dudes with their program before they got cut.
Yeah, had a finalist literally that same year.
Right, with Hawkstresser. Like, it's the thing that sucks is like success is never protected us, and it feels like it should. It feels like buy-in from the community and those sorts of things would be enough. And I agree. Like, we should go to more things. I know, like, it's tough for me. Like, I've got Grand Valley's men's and women's program nearby, and they're really good, and I don't go. It's usually because I'm coaching or I'm doing this or that's pretty much it. Those are the two things I do outside of go to work and sleep. But it's like, sometimes it is difficult to make it to everything that you would want to if you had all the time in the world, but try to find other ways to support programs, try to find other ways to whatever your means is. This is my call to arms for people that have time to do it. Right. Just adding to what you're saying, Holmes.
Yeah. I mean, buy a t-shirt, right? All these schools have some sort of fundraiser. I mean, we talk about George Mason. I think Robbie's literally wearing a George Mason sweatshirt right now, I think is what he's wearing. And like, they had different ways of supporting them. A lot of these teams have golf tournaments every year, but have fundraisers, right? There's Giving Tuesday every single year for a lot of these teams. And, George Mason also did bourbon this year. So like, so many different ways of going about it. And I know we've mentioned George Mason and the things that they've done on this show before, and some of these other programs that are doing some of these different things. We talked about you and I and like their bobblehead night, right? Like all these different things that we try to make sure. I think Robbie actually has one. I think he's getting up to go get it right
Hold
now. But
on,
like
get it.
all
My
these,
Schwabblehead.
all these, the Schwabblehead, that's the best thing ever, right? So like
I love it.
so many different ways to support these programs and make sure that you are supporting these programs. And you know, but I don't know. I feel like it is a lot of wrestling becomes so focused on what Penn State is doing and them breaking a record, or you know what is happening at Oklahoma State, or how much NIL money is Bo Bassett getting, or whatever else. And you know, like I said, we're not innocent in that, where we will talk about those topics, but we also make sure that we are having Mike Moyer on the show to discuss what he is doing to try and solidify these programs at some of these schools and some of the different fundraisers. And you know, we've pushed the George Mason fundraiser as well as their merch store when it happened. I mean, hell, Robbie, you literally helped with their merch store, right? And like we discussed some of the shirts before they even put them out in their merch store. So like just all these different things. And I'm not trying to like pat us on the back, but there's a lot of people that are in wrestling that don't do those things, that don't worry about those things until it is too late. And you're like, oh shit, the program's about to get cut. So yeah, I don't know. Robbie, your thoughts on, I don't know, the response to this, I guess.
I don't know. It's frustrating to continue to be in this spot. And Derek's been doing a fantastic job with the program, and you know, just talking about it with some other coaches the other day about how impressive it is what he's built in such a short time, jumping from NAIA all the way up to D1. And I mean, you can't speak highly enough of what they've done, right? But at the end of the day, so much of this is out of the control of anyone in our community and anyone in the sport at all. And so often we're just kind of a small budget line when ADs are looking at things. And if they can eliminate that, and it's easy enough to do because they're not thinking about the faces, they're not thinking about the people on the mat, they're thinking about just that line on the budget and getting it out of the way. And the reality is it affects people's lives, it affects people's livelihoods, and it's not a small change to undertake. And it sucks for all the guys who are on the program now. It sucks for the guys who have committed there because now they're looking for new homes. And I mean, it sucks for the coaching staff who's poured everything into to building that program in the last few years.
Especially with how things have changed with roster limits and all these other things, right? Like you're just taking away opportunity from any of these athletes. I love all the programs that are adding women's wrestling, but like for all the ones that are adding women's wrestling and then we're looking, you know, at some other program and they're cutting them. So it's just shitty all in of itself. Austin, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's kind of bullshit too. These ADs always give the lame excuse. Oh, it's hard economic times and blah blah blah. It's like, no, like what is your real reason? Like you're giving these political bullshit answers that don't mean anything. You know what I mean? And then that's what Willie addressed today on bashing the brain. But you know, he's right with that. It's like, hey, show us the financials of why this would be better for you, and or just say, oh, we want to pay basketball players more, or we want to do better about, like, if that's what it is, just say that, you know, but don't tiptoe around this. Oh, it costs money, blah blah blah. And then to someone talked about Borelli chiming in on Twitter today, and apparently the Cal Baptist AD said even if you can self fund it, he's not going to bring the sport back. It's like, what does that even mean? Like, it's not going to cost the school.
That shows
anything.
your agenda fully.
Yeah, it's just you don't give a shit about the sport, you don't give a shit about the students, and you know that's the frustrating part. It's like, hey, if they can fundraise and be self-performing, and why can't they have the team there? You know, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Well, and even with the option, I mean, you've already referenced, you know, some programs bringing a women's sport in. Like, if this is legitimately a, like, you know, Title IX issue at some level, shape, or form. It's like this can solve both of those issues, and you already have facilities, and you already have equipment. You have everything you need except for like more paying people to come to your school. We're probably going to stick around for the entirety of their career there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
so,
The graduation rate is probably very high for the wrestling team, as it is for most wrestling teams, right? Like,
Also generally is pretty high for first generation college students when you're looking at the metrics of funding in that matter too. It's, I mean, there's so many benefits that you get, not just from having the sport in general, but the doors that it opens for people. And I mean, I know we see that in the interactions that we have with people, but it's so often gets lost in the bigger picture of everything. Is like, this is a way that people are getting to go to college and prepare for a better future. And, to take that opportunity away, it sucks.
I think we just saved him. I think the AD is going to listen to this podcast and change his mind.
The funny thing about, I just find it funny how 2 years ago, Cal Baptist had a $40 million endowment challenge,
right? Mm-hmm.
And how they reached their $40 million endowment challenge. Like, I don't know. It's very easy to see the agenda when you try to claim that it's money, but then you can do me a favor. If you're listening to this and you don't know that they have an endowment, just Google Cal Baptist and endowment, and it'll be the first thing that pops up. As a matter of fact, it'll take you to the school website. Is what
celebrating them for doing it.
Yes. It literally, the first article that pops up is the school website. The second one that will come up is a article again on the school website that came out in December of 2024. It says university donations surpass 100 million mark in 4-year growth spurt. So spare me your financials. When you can literally Google Cal Baptist and endowment, and the first two articles that come up are you basically have over $140 million. Like,
I remember when Eastern cut its program and Scott Weatherby.
Fuck you, Scott Weatherby. We'll throw that guy out too.
Absolute loser.
And fuck you, Wood Sealing. While we're at it too.
They all can. Yeah, I'm gonna continue my point rather than just disparage that fat.
I'll take care of that part
anymore. But no, it was like he had these line item things on like the budget issues and how like the program was costing them like $650,000 a year or something like that. And it was like, no, not even close. It's like, we have our budget. It doesn't amount to anywhere near that. And it was just like, home duels cost, 120 grand a year or something like that. It was just this ridiculous like breakdown of what the issues were. And it was like, okay, well, if you want to just like fudge numbers and like make it look bad, like how much, hey, Scott Weatherby, how much did it cost to make Eastern Michigan's football field gray? That looks stupid.
Help them win 0 more games in the year too.
Oh my God. I hate that. The worst part about that is that Crosby, like I like Mason Crosby.
Nash and Young.
Yeah, I like them too. But I wish that Mason Crosby had gone somewhere else because fuck Eastern Michigan forever and always.
Yeah, it's just
feel about Western Michigan
to see about how they
not a threat.
Not a threat. Yeah, all this money that's being spent, it just is what it is. It just shows bad management.
When you look at a school like Cal Baptist, who used sports as an enrollment driver as they moved up in divisions, like they have a lot of sports offerings, but that also comes with a lot of tuition from a lot of paying students because they're not all on scholarship. And the reality is that that's driving a large portion of the enrollment. And as you start cutting these, you're cutting your enrollment and cutting the money that's coming in. So it doesn't make fiscally, it doesn't make sense to cut these people who are paying to be there. I mean, especially in a sport like wrestling where we barely have any scholarships as it is. It's crazy.
Yeah. Let's wrap things up and talk Soldier Salute. Let's get back to some of the wrestling. Austin, I'm coming to you because I know there's probably at least one of these finals that you definitely want to speak on from Soldier Salute. So I'll hand it off to you.
Yeah, Danny Wask from Navy won the title at 174 overtime match with Gabe Arnold, which we've talked about Gabe Arnold in the past a little bit. Just kind of curious where he was going to end up. What weight class? 74, 84. He was down at 74.
First time.
Yeah, wrestled pretty well from what I saw. I didn't see too much of Soldier Salute, if I'm being honest, but saw that match, and yeah, Gabe Arnold wrestled. Yeah, it's tough because Arnold wrestles a lot of those tight overtime, one takedown matches. So does Wask, so that was kind of a match that was kind of in both of their wheelhouses that Wask kind of ended up on top. I did see that Tarleton State had a place winner at 165 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Finn Shepard got 7th, so that's good. We're talking about programs getting cut, one that's eventually being added, hopefully, kind of making some noise here at Soldier Salute, which is always good. Yeah, I didn't see a whole lot EIWA wise. Navy sent some guys here, some guys to the Scuffle. I'm not sure the reasoning behind that, but yeah, that's kind of all I really had for the salute.
Dude, shout out Grant Leaf,
Yeah.
Tarleton State head coach.
Was he in the corner with the neck brace, or is that just when he wrestles?
I hope
I think
so.
he's retired
I
the
didn't
neck
see him.
brace. He bronzed it. It's a bronze
Moved
neck
on
brace
his
now.
extra supportive shoes now.
Yeah. Robbie, on to you. There was a lot of North Carolina dominance.
There was a lot of Carolina blue. Yeah, they look great. And I was talking to Tony Ramos today about it, actually. Super impressed with their performance overall. Terrakina took second, lost to Mogert in the finals. Ethan Oakley had a great run to win it at 33. Luke Simcox won at 41. 49, they didn't place anybody. 57, Laird Root got 4th. But in probably the deepest weight. Jordan Williams over Teague Travis. Conway beat Root for third and the 3rd and 4th place match. Voinovich and Jared Hill in the 5th place match. So it's pretty deep weight there. Bryce Hepner, I have been very, very impressed with. Since he's debuted for the Tar Heels. I wasn't really sure what they were going to get out of him with the transfer, just because he's been up and down throughout his career, and he's been great. I mean, he's looked the part. He's done everything he's needed to do, and he's looked good doing it. Not the deepest weight, but he had a good run there. And the other one was Robert Platt has also looked really good. Took 4th. Novak won that one at 97. Robbie Platt's looked really good. Been pretty impressed with him as well. But overall, they lost. They got 2nd place, and it came down to the 184 final that decided the team championship, where Aiden Sinclair beat Jake Daly. We beat badly. He tech-falled him 17-2, and that's what gave Mizzou the team title.
I don't think Sinclair broke a sweat.
Probably not.
I think he teched everybody. Yeah, he's pretty good. And Platt, I saw lost to same guy twice. He lost to Zion Hall of Navy. So
I didn't realize he lost to him twice. That's interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Claunch, on to you. Soldier Salute.
Yeah, I'm gonna shout out Danny Wask again because that dude on top of doing all the regular, like, I'm in the Navy doing hard shit all the time, like without wrestling, took 2nd in the Cliff Keen Las Vegas, and then obviously was like, I'll go wrestle in this tournament too. And 174 was fairly loaded. I was really impressed with Izzy Moreno from Northern Iowa. He wrestled really well. I mean, Clayton Whiting's a guy who's been one of those like top 25 guys at 174 for several years. He placed 7th at the weight class there, like, just to illustrate some of the depth. So fairly impressive. In general, I thought it was interesting. And again, I kind of talked about this earlier, but like, there was a lot of teams who had active dual meets this week and yet still we're like sending coaches to these tournaments. Like Northern Iowa wrestled.
You and I, yeah.
Wrestled Nebraska. Nebraska was at was it here? It was here.
Yeah.
They had Ziola was there.
Ohio State obviously sent some dudes to some of these tournaments. Iowa State sent some dudes out. So it was kind of interesting to kind of see how they were making that happen. Where's my dude? There he is. Patrick Jordan from VMI. So remember earlier this year when we were talking about why am I blanking on his name? Michigan 149, transferred from UNC.
Sergio Lemley. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, he is Michigan 149.
Lachlan
McNeil.
McNeil.
Yeah, sorry, Lachlan McNeil. And he had a tough match with VMI in the duel, and it was like, man, I don't know. Like maybe that's like a sign of things. Jordan is a pain in the ass to wrestle, dude. That guy's just punching underhooks and trying to throw inside trips. He's just throwing shit at you constantly. And he's got the headgear thing, the Morgan headgear, the head. You can just headbutt people, not on purpose, but he was just like he's a pain in the ass.
Maybe Ferrari needs some of that.
Hey, just gonna say that.
Yeah. It's just. I was trying to avoid it because I don't want to give that guy any airtime. Yeah, I realized it as it happened. But shout out to Patrick Jordan. Wanted to give that guy a shout out for sure. And then in general, Wyoming, dude, they had guys battling. Let me see, 1, 2. I think they had a placer at. They had 2 placers at 149, 3 placers at 149. My apologies. Cole Brooks, Antonio Avila, Gabe Willishell. They just had dudes up and down this tournament, and then obviously Novak winning it at 197. So Wyoming continues to just keep their things rolling there. So happy for those guys.
Yeah. The funny
you want
thing,
to touch on Nasir Bailey and be Iowa haters, or is that?
Yeah, that was.
I'll take that one.
Jordan Williams showed up. He won.
Jordan Williams
did show up and win. Yeah,
I was gonna talk about Iowa because I saw Bash tweet that. Isn't it funny how the soldier salute was essentially created because Midlands was not going to be happening during COVID, so Iowa wanted to get more matches, and now they're basically not really sending their number ones. So
yeah, it's kind of messed up, but
it is.
I mean, they stopped doing it because they were fighting with all the Ferraris, but now they're not there anymore, so probably do it again.
And the one that they would need to fight with, they wouldn't actually need to fight with. Because AJ's not going to actually show up to wrestle at a tournament unless it's like
Anthony will just headbutt you.
Dude, he didn't show up to either of Nebraska's things. He didn't wrestle in the duel either.
He hasn't wrestled in weeks. It's been a little bit. Cade Ziola has.
Did you say he's been a little bitch? No, sorry.
No.
I know you didn't
say that.
So that'd be a really funny way to approach it.
Yeah. But Cade Ziola is the one. He's the one that's been in the lineup. I think he was in the lineup for the Oklahoma State duel, and then he was here at Soldier Salute, and
he looked good. He beat Laganza. How do you say that from Navy?
The nose guy.
The nose guy, there we go. Who's beat Pitzer twice this year. And
that was a good win.
That was a good win. Yeah. And then Hopke beat him in the finals, which was a really good match.
Yeah. I mean, very impressive with Ziola. How he has just kind of stepped in whenever necessary and continues to wrestle and not backing away from literally anything. I think he'll probably.
I would like to know how many dates he has left.
That's what I think. I think he's probably done. He may have one left. I don't know. I'd have to look. I don't have it in front of me. But I mean, impressive. Certainly. I love how he's made the transition here at heavyweight as a true freshman. And I know that they've slapped a couple extra pounds on him. He definitely has the frame to be a very large human being. And I'm sure that next year, just one off season of eating and lifting like a true heavyweight, he should be pretty damn big, to be completely honest. So,
all right. So he wrestled at the Bison Open, but I don't know if he wrestled attached or unattached. He wrestled the Brown and Missouri duels, which is one weekend, so that should count as one date. Yep. Oklahoma State is a date. And was he attached? Was he wearing a Nebraska singlet for Soldier Salute, or was he unattached?
I don't know. I'd have to go back. I don't remember. I'd have to go back
I
and
believe
look.
he was unattached.
Yeah.
So they could be saving a few dates for him for Big Tens when AJ
And that's the
needs another
weird thing
break.
is in these results, I'm looking at the results on Flow. They have Nebraska in there for him. Normally, like if they do have unattached with Isaiah Powell, but like they don't have that for Ziola. So I'm not too sure about that one, but he definitely still has some dates left.
It looks
Which
like
I'm
he's
sure they'll be
four.
pretty strategic about where they put him in the lineup, but
Yeah, he's got
very
at
impressed
least
by him.
one. If he was attached for all of these dates, then he only has one left. I would guess that he was unattached for the Bison Open.
And potentially unattached for Southern Skull or for Soldier Salute.
For Soldier.
He was not
So-
wearing a Nebraska singlet. I know that.
Yeah.
It was
Okay,
an
then he
Aspen
wasn't
Wrestling
attached.
Academy with his name on the back.
Okay. So that means he was unattached for that. So he's got at least 2 dates to play with, maybe 3.
Yeah.
Potentially, yeah.
Before I
Sucks
forget,
that he burned a double weekend with the Oklahoma State one and not wrestled at UNC duel too, but
Mhm.
already touched on that.
Seth Mendoza looked unbelievable.
Yeah.
He looked every bit as advertised.
Yeah, he's gonna be good.
Was it a true injury or
No, he was going to wrestle Josh Edmond, and then they just said, "No, you're not."
yes.
I think he would have beat Edmund.
I'm not. I can't say that. I physically can't make my mouth make those words.
But he's thinking it.
Love me some
Totally
Josh
checked.
Edmond.
Yeah, he's good.
No, I mean we've had a lot of really impressive wrestling, even if we don't have a lot of our most highly ranked wrestlers out on the mat. I mean, obviously some of these tournaments do. I mean, Aiden Sinclair, Danny Wask. I mean, Jordan Williams is still number 10, as well as Coy Hopke. So like there are top 10, top 15 guys wrestling every weekend and everything else, even if the top, of the top, we're not seeing them all the time. I would like to see AJ Ferrari wrestle more than just the couple of duels that he has wrestled so far, but we don't make those decisions. So hopefully he gets back in the lineup. Hopefully I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully he's not banged up or anything else. He does deadlift kind of heavy, so hopefully his back is okay.
He keeps posting videos of him lifting, so I think he's healthy.
So hey, I mean, I like to give guys the benefit of the doubt instead of saying that they're just out of the lineup to be out of the lineup. Say maybe he's sick, maybe he's got a little banged up, maybe an injury here or there, but
Digestive issues from eating all that steak.
All the protein.
Yeah.
Yep.
Be 9 steaks a day will do that to you. I wouldn't shit for a week if I did that.
Telling you, he was eating those Arby's nuggets and thinking they were each one steak.
I don't think anybody's having trouble pooping if they eat those.
Good luck with that. I think that's it. I know we have Jax Forrest on this list to talk about. I think we've talked about him before. He made his announcement. He's going to Oklahoma State. Whether he wrestles
but doesn't
or not,
know in what capacity, which also it kind of flabbergasts me because you have to register for classes if you're going to be there. If he's going to think about competing, and that's going to start pretty soon. So some decisions are going to have to be made pretty quickly.
Yeah,
but
because the semester's about to start, so we'll see.
Sure, they
Jax Forrest is going to be very good at wrestling.
Pull some strings and get him into classes if needed.
Yeah.
Money
He
talks.
still has a little bit before he has to truly register for that second semester anyway. But I don't know, Jack Forrest is going to be a very good college wrestler. He's already, I mean, he's kind of already a very good college wrestler. So whether he wrestles this year or next year doesn't really make a big difference to me. He's going to be very good. He's going to beat a lot of people, and he will at some point have one or a bunch of NCAA titles. So just looking forward to seeing him compete. I think it was pretty awesome that he was able to go and wrestle at Powerade and have one last high school tournament. But like I said, if he wrestles, awesome, pretty cool. Seeing him reclassify and get into the lineup. I don't remember anybody really ever doing it. But No, I think it's awesome. Jack Suarez is cool. Awesome kid. Seems pretty cool every time I've talked to him at Elite Eight Duels. It's literally the only place I've spoken to him. Seems like an awesome kid. Wish him nothing but the best. Think he's going to be awesome for Oklahoma State. Even though, we hate Oklahoma State, but that's just
Kevin.
That's just
me.
Just Kevin. Anything else you guys would like to add, or should we wrap things up? Going once, going twice. Sold. Show's over. What if I just ended it right there? Didn't even say anything. It's just
Don't forget our sponsors.
I know, right? Well, they get photo recognition and everything else, but no, definitely shout out to those sponsors. I needed to get my my godson a pair of Adidas wrestling shoes for Christmas, and they were awesome. Got everything to me in time for Christmas. He has his pair of wrestling shoes. He can't wear them yet. I got him a little bit big so he can go into them. But no, shout out to Adidas Wrestling. Those guys are always awesome. Make sure you guys are using our discount code there as well as on Poseidon Strength. I think that's really it for the show. We will be back on Thursday. We will have a preview of things to come. We'll talk about our favorite dual meets and some of the matchups that are coming over the weekend. I think wrestling starts on Thursday this week too. So
tomorrow,
you'll have
Tuesday.
Tuesday
night duel.
Yeah,
a good one too.
There is still some wrestling.
Arizona State, Iowa State.
Yeah. So we will most likely not talk about that one on Thursday's show, since it is happening as you're watching this episode, or at least listening to this
Twin
episode.
brothers wrestling each other.
Yeah, I saw the promo. I did see the promo. That is right. So let's enjoy that one. I think that'll be a lot of fun, to make sure you guys are watching that one and tuning into that, so that we're proactive about supporting our wrestling programs, right? But as always, we appreciate you guys using those discount codes and visiting our sponsors. And we love when you send those comments in. The last thing that I will say is we will have another shoe giveaway coming soon. And we want your input on what event should we do the shoe giveaway for. We are going to pick some of our own duels and things like that too, but we would love to hear from you guys to, mix it up a little bit. So throw us some of the upcoming events. What would you like to see us do a shoe giveaway for? We will do a second one. Shout out to our first winner. I hope that she got the shoes for I believe her son. She did not respond to me in the last email, but I hope that she is watching and does send us some photos and stuff of him wrestling in those shoes. But yeah, let us know, what would you like us to do another shoe giveaway for? We'll get something set up so that we can give away another awesome pair of Adidas wrestling shoes. But as always, we appreciate you guys watching and listening to the Quad Pod, and we will see you again on Thursday. Peace.